Like all living things, their ancestors adapted to changing world, and they do the same when they reproduce and pass on their genes. But today's species face something new, global changes caused by humans. Humans generally use natural resources such as energy, water, and space, but the more populations increase over the centuries, the worse the problem becomes. Not to mention the destruction of habitats. Clearly, more people around the planet, the more land is needed. The simple fact underlies the destruction of natural environments, a global problem that is depleting the natural world. Finally, machines were doing man's work, so they began to produce more and more, causing the air pollution that still plagues us today. As time went by fast, man thought he had found a way to work better and faster, thanks to fossil fuels, which are the energy for fast means of transportation. Not to mention industrial machinery, which the consumerist society the problem has become greater and greater. Man has created the self-destruction, because one day, if all this is not mitigated, planet Earth may no longer exist, or at worst, life will be very difficult. What has made the planet so precarious? The difficulty in waste disposal, the scarcity of water resources, the use of greenhouse gases that increase temperatures and pollute the air we breathe. In addition to the use of biomass in transport, what will really help us save our planet will be the use of renewable energy. Let's talk about the hole in the ozone layer. Ozone is among the worst ingredients of photochemical smog because it attacks living cells. But much higher up in the atmosphere, an ozone layer protects us from the sun's harmful radiation. The atmospheric ozone can be destroyed by chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons. At the time, chlorofluorocarbons were common in aerosol, refrigerators, and plastic, and a large portion ended up in the air. Chlorofluorocarbons reach the ozone layer and destroy its molecules, in a process that continues for many years. The world's reaction to this crisis was unusually rapid and effective. Today the ozone hole is still there, but it seems to be beginning to close. By 2040 it may begin. When sunlight reaches Earth, some of it is repelled from space, but most of it passes through the atmosphere and reaches the surface of our planet. Here the land and oceans warm up and remit energy in turn. This outgoing energy is quite different from sunlight. It has wide wavelength, which makes it invisible, and is emitted from the entire air surface for 24 hours a day. This energy can be absorbed by some gases in the air. This difference is crucial because it means that the outgoing energy has a harder time escaping into space. However, the heat stays on Earth, which remains warmer than it should. Another energy that can save the planet is the nuclear power, but there are some problems. The nuclear power has become increasingly expensive. In the West, costs are high and construction time long, so it is very doubtful for the expansion of this technology in the challenge for climate neutrality to be achieved in just 30 years. Better to focus on renewables, which costs are decreased. Even many supporters of nuclear power have admitted the problems associated with these four critical issues: cost, safety, waste disposal, and proliferation. But finally, we can reverse everything said. With the help of this energy, we could save our planet, because it has a low environmental impact. Obviously, with the right industry professionals. Now, let's talk about the role of electricity in transportation. In addition to producing neither CO2 nor pollutants, the electric motor is 3-4 times more efficient. The cost of the energy it consumes is 3 times less. It has at least 100 times fewer moving parts, so it is less prone to breakdowns, and it requires much lower maintenance expenses. The final obstacle to an exponential increase in electric cars is their price, largely determined by the cost of batteries. Despite science telling us what to do to combat climate change, there are still some who don't believe it's a problem, but thanks to cooperation between countries and COP26, they will be able to make the world understand that it's a real problem. The COP26, United Nations Conference on Climate Change, held in Glasgow, following a first draft on 2021, has come to the conclusion that the ranking for commitment to deal climate change has not yet created the top 3 positions, since so far no one has achieved the performance required to contain global warming within 1.5 degrees Celsius. Doing best of all are Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. At the bottom of the ranking are fossil fuel exporting and using countries such as Saudi Arabia, Canada, Australia, and Russia. COP26 held 4 key points in consideration to counter climate change. First, mitigation, zero emission by 2050 and contain temperature rise to no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. Second, adaptation, support the most vulnerable countries to safeguard communities and natural habits, as well as mitigate the impacts of climate change. Third, climate finance. Mobilize funding especially to developing countries. Fourth, carry out the Paris Agreement. Who will truly save our planet, we will be ourselves, in our daily lives. Here are 10 rules to make a difference. First, to reduce water consumption. Second, use less the car. It will be better to use the bicycle or public transportation, hoping that as soon as possible we will all be equipped by hybrid or electric cars. Third, save electricity. 4. Reduce the consumption of meat and fish. 5. Make separate collection. Avoid waste. Unnecessary packaging. Do not use plastic plates and cutlery, and reuse what you can. 6. Shop smart. Bring the same bags. 7. Use recycled paper and print only when strictly necessary. 8. Buy certified wood furniture. 9. Optimize heating. 10. Choose organic eco-bio cosmetics and detergents without parabens and toxic substances. To save our planet, each of us will have to do its part. Citizens, governments, and companies.